So...
Hooray. Hold on one second. I'll get the one set up on mine too. Just a moment.
Okay.
I was opening up all of the other stuff.
Okay. There's that. Oh my gosh.
Hey.
Hey!
Oh,
I hear myself.
You hear yourself?
I did. I heard myself.
What'd you
Or
hear?
something.
Hey.
Sounded like me. You just hear hey over and over again.
That's my phone.
Mhm.
Nope, not that one. That one. It's my text alert.
Hey! That's funny.
You're a little crackly.
Am I? Okay, hold
just
on.
a little.
One second. I'm beginning to wonder if it's this controller, because I think I used my other controller last time around. But it's dead, so that won't work.
PS5 controller? I'd hope not.
Yeah, I know, me either, but I'm on my secondary one right now. Okay. What am I doing? I am trying to share this. That's what I am trying to do. I am trying to go live. That's what I'm trying to do. This is Snugpod Cast episode 21?
Yeah, I think so.
Oops. What am I calling this? What am I calling this?
I know what I'm calling it.
Oh no. I had a notification that you thought my account got hacked and now I can't find it. Oh, come on. Stupid thing.
Yeah, the title on the video right now is not the title that's going to be there.
Oh, come on. Okay. Where is the dash? Oh, there it is. I put Snug Podcast episode 21. Surprise? I don't know what else to put. Am I still crackly?
No, not the last minute or so.
Okay. All right. I am now live as well.
Cat over,
Let
cat
me
over here
check
biting
it.
my leg.
You are a cat.
I am a Khajiit kitty.
Khajiit kitty.
But my little house Khajiit is nibbling at my leg for some reason. Alright, I gotta get my notes pulled up. I have special notes.
I figured you did. Special notes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna mute and listen to this. Hold on.
Okay. For those of you that maybe are watching now, we're currently just sound checking and stuff like we do because we've had too many scamps and we're trying to avoid those. So if you happen to be currently in our stream, that is why you are hearing such random babble.
Yeah, random babble.
Babble.
I think it's good on the Twitch end as well. I think.
Cool beans.
Give me 1 second here. What on earth? I'm scared. You're already cracking yourself up.
No, I'm not cracking myself up. I just other people who are watching that I sent the link out to are saying things back to me in messages that we're saying. Like babble.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I could screenshot it and show you, but then I'd be like exposing names and whatnot. We're not supposed to be doing that.
Oh, okay.
You just have to take my word for it.
Okay. All right.
Are we ready to start?
Yep, let me go into screenshot so we don't have all the ugly stuff on the side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could do that too. I kind of forgot.
You could.
I could. I totally could. No.
If you wants to.
What if I don't wants to?
Well, then don't.
Hey, cat, quit licking my leg. It's not a steak.
Maybe
biting
it
my
is.
leg. It's not
maybe
a steak.
Maybe you shouldn't go to sleep. Maybe you're gonna wake up and it's gonna be nibbling on you.
Gnaw. Because that's what cats do. They gnaw. You know.
Har.
Gnaw. Gnaw.
GNAW. Har.
HAR. All right, are we ready? Ready?
Sure.
We ready to kick this off?
We're ready to do something, but I don't know what.
All right, well, I'm gonna leave a little bit of a pause for dramatic effect.
Pause for dramatic effect.
Actually, I'm gonna pause so that it's easier to edit all of this other previous nonsense out.
Fine.
When I get back to, no, that's the brand of my mic. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, I'm muting myself. Bye.
Welcome to A Snugpod Cast, the longest running show devoted to our favorite franchise, Elvis Girls Online. Coincidentally, we are also the shortest lived show devoted to Elvis Girls Online. Why do you ask? Because that game doesn't exist. Yet?
Wow. You already.
So we
You
are
know when
starting a new show, episode 1, Elvis
know,
Girls Online, baby.
no,
Yes.
no, we're not. We're not, because I will shut this down. I will shut down the Twitter and the Twitch.
But then it's still on the YouTubers.
I should have known, considering what you put in the show notes, that you were going to do something like this.
Yep.
You took the time to write an intro, not about the actual podcast that we do, but about something that you've completely made up.
Yeah, so there's a story. There's a story that
There
goes
better
along
be.
with that. And yeah. So should I just go right into that first? Because it's a little further down in the show list. But
well, maybe, yeah, I guess so. I was gonna. I guess we can say what we did last week on the show later.
So, okay, I'm at work, right? And clearly I'm the nerdy guy at work because I'm the age that I am.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, yes, you would have, because you're the nerdy girl at work.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure, fine.
But, being the nerdy guy at work, at my age, playing video games, I'm talking to one of the kids I work with, and we're talking about podcasts and things like that. And I've told her about the podcasts that we do, and she was like, "What's the game your podcast is about again?" And I said, "Elder Scrolls Online." And she's like, "Elvis Girls Online?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's that game where you just run around and see who can find the most female Elvis impersonators." and then I was like, "No, I said Elder Scrolls Online." And she's like, "I was getting a little concerned that Elvis Girls Online was the game you were playing after your wife goes to bed." So I was like, "That is going in our show."
Oh,
and
no.
And if you're listening, that is why the title of this episode is Elvis Girls Online.
No. Nope. On my stream it says surprise question mark.
So yeah, Elvis Girls Online is not really a thing. It was just a joke.
Wow.
So I had to have the whole build up with the whole unveiling something new. So Shanty, if you're watching or listening, hopefully you didn't call out of work just for that. But hopefully you at least got a laugh out of it, because I've been laughing about it ever since we had that conversation. And the kids at work that I've told about it have also have been laughing with me about it. They thought it was funny. So, yeah. So there you have it.
Yeah.
But as for who we really are, we're actually a Snugpod Cast. We're hanging out in this lovely Snugpod here. And I am never separate. Who are you?
I'm gone crazy back soon, but apparently I might be the sane one this week.
Maybe none of this really happened, and you're just not back yet.
That could be, actually. If we're being completely honest, I might still be in the crazy stage, and that's why all of this is happening.
You're going to come back to listen to this later and be like, "I swear he said that. I swear he did," and it's not there. Oh, good times, good times. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I realized that I forgot to send our "We're Live" tweet, so it definitely says we are live with Elder Scrolls Online content in large letters.
I do have to say, if anyone does decide that they come up with a game where you roam around looking for female Elvis impersonators and they title that game Elvis Girls Online, we get royalties for that. So you have to contact us. We'll give you the information, and we'll set that up, and then you can go and make that game if you so desire. But hopefully no one desires, because that sounds terrible.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like my sort of niche, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, my wife thought it was funny too that we were
It is
joking.
real.
She's like, and she
It
said
is real.
if that was the game you were playing when I went to bed, I'd have a problem too. She told that kid, thank you for being concerned for me.
I would probably reach through my phone and smack you, and then I would immediately text her and be like, "Can you actually real life smack him for me?" I might still do that.
Well, we're counting down the days that you'll have an opportunity, I suppose. Um,
That's true.
yeah, so I guess I should be on my guard next time I actually get to see you in person, get whacked. So probably what'll really
Uh,
happen is you'll hug my wife and hug my kid and hug the 15 people around us that none of us know, and
hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe.
yeah,
Maybe.
and then
Or maybe I'll dress up like Elvis.
hey, there you go, and stand on a line like in a
No,
parking lot or
mm-mm,
something.
absolutely
Look,
not. I
there's
don't
an
have time
Elvis
for
girl
that.
online.
No time for that.
All right. All right.
The dumpster has been sufficiently on fire. We should put down the lid so that it goes out.
Hey, this is the kind of content they're not getting elsewhere, though. Hey, elsewhere. See, I tied it back
They'd
in.
rather be elsewhere.
Yeah, that's probably true. Anybody that tuned in because they thought we were talking about this game is like probably checked out by now. So, come back. We will talk about this game.
Wow.
All right.
And that was the last time they ever hit 1,000 listens.
Hey, the truth is, I did this to sabotage us so that Tails could catch up.
Oh, no. Yeah, those tweets this week too. For anybody that follows the Snugpod Cast Twitter, I think you can probably tell when certain people are sending tweets.
Yeah, I may or may not have
Perhaps the content is slightly different depending upon who's logged in at the moment.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
yeah. I have to give our friends over at Tails a little bit of a hard time. But in fairness, I did say if we were to flip the roles and we were to do their listen count to our episode count, we would probably just need to quit what we're doing because that number would be so skewed. Um, so it's all in good fun. All in
It's
good fun.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
And I love that they actually responded back, which
Yeah.
made it even better.
Yeah.
So, shout out to the podcasters in the Elder Scrolls community because everybody's very supportive of each other, and I love that.
Big
So,
happy family.
that's right.
All
Hey,
right.
but
So,
what did we do last week?
on the show or in the game?
Maybe a little of both. Why
Oh,
not?
well, last week on the show we didn't have a ridiculous intro. Um, that's what we didn't
We
do.
didn't.
Um, but we did cover some newsy things, and starting with like the Crown Store showcase. Some of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff still hasn't come up yet. I keep checking when I'm on. I'm like, there were some things in there I might be interested in. Is it there yet? How much is it? It's not there yet, so I have no idea how much it is. Um, yeah,
Guess you'll have to wait and see.
I keep waiting. There was some stuff like the music box, and
Oh,
um,
yes.
I want to check that out. And um, oh gosh, I don't even remember now. I know there were a couple of things that I thought were really neat. Um, and of course, we're getting is it Stibbins and Riggert, right?
Yes.
So definitely curious to see what the crown cost on those guys are going to be, especially Riggert. Um, that one I could see being like a new record for house guests. But
For sure.
yeah. Um, what else? QuakeCon
Uh,
announcements.
Yeah, soundtrack release. But mostly the fun part was that we were not in the Snug Pod last week, just for fun.
We weren't in this snug pod.
We were in a different
Yeah,
Snug Pod.
we walked across the street.
Hmm.
We braved the wilderness that is Grahtwood to travel across the road, approximately 120 feet. I'm guessing. I really don't know. I'm bad at judging distance in real life, and judging, and all these things are like, oh, this doesn't affect in an 8 meter radius, and I'm like, I don't know what 8 meters is in a game. It's a circle. It's as big
It's the
as
circle that pops up when I hit R1.
yeah. Um, so yeah, and we got to listen to the lovely Bard that was hanging out outside, even in the rain while we were inside, cozy, warm. She was just
That's
out
right.
there singing her heart out. And even in the middle of the thunderstorm that popped up while we were inside, felt bad for her, but she just kept going.
They must be paying her good.
I certainly hope so. That, or I hope people are dropping tips in the loot case.
Something.
Um, loot box.
A loot box? A loot crate? For
in-game loot crate. Yep.
There you go.
Loot crates are canon.
They are now, and so is Elvis Girls Online.
Yes. I think that someone needs to make that character happen in game, and then just place them on a line in the game and never move them.
You know what the best part about this is? My phone went off that we have a new follower, and I don't know if it's from what is happening right now or if it's just coincidence.
Oh man, this sounds like my kind of game. Woohoo! Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you chose to follow for that, hopefully you'll stick around for what we're really doing. But it's understandable if you don't. I'm sure you might have been a little confused. But anyway, so we did those things. We did not do Mayhem anymore. Mayhem,
Nope,
Mayhem.
that's over.
Because, yeah.
Mayhem is over. But we did farm some Dreadseller for you.
Yeah. Had a couple of people in there that were also farming, and we ran it just 2 or 3 times.
I think we ran it 3 times.
We may have.
I don't know. It was like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, it was getting stupid late, and
I-
both needed to
I
be
think
up the next day.
I think it was we ran that 2 times, and then you and I did Wayrest on our own, right? Yeah, that's what it was.
That sounds about right.
That sounds right. But
Yeah, we had a couple folks though that they ran with us, and we were like, yeah, we'll do it again. They were farming gear too, and next thing we know, guild invite pops up, and we're like, oh, well, we also have a guild and a show. So we shared that, and then they ran away. They were like, nope, no.
well, the guy said, to his credit, he said, "Wait, like a podcast?" Because you put Snugpod, and then I put Lore Seekers, and they're like, "Oh, wait, like a podcast," and we both said yes. And then he goes, "Oh, cool, I'll have to check that out." And then he goes, "Also, I don't have a guild slot, otherwise I think about it." Like he put that in the group thing.
Oh, I must
So I
have
thought
missed
that was kinda
Well,
cool.
That's cool. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's our new follower.
No, I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I had a good time running through there. Dreadseller. We didn't do the extra bosses, but it's actually not that long of a dungeon to run through if you're just farming gear.
Yeah, and it
especially
really,
on normal.
I mean, I was gonna say we did it on normal, so it definitely wasn't bad, but I'm sure that the buffs would have made it even faster, but it wouldn't have been enough to make us do the side bosses just to make it like it still didn't take us long to do the final boss
Right.
because it was normal. So
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. It went pretty smoothly. I mean, we did have a death here or there, and we were just kind of laughing about it, like, what in the world just happened? Like, I died one time because I think I stood in stupid, but
well, there were times though that I was having some pretty hardcore desync problems that night that we were playing. So there were a
Oh.
couple times where
yeah.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead, finish.
Oh, I was gonna say there were a couple times where I had skills that wouldn't fire, or like my stabby stabs, when I would hit for that skill to go off, it wouldn't go. Like no numbers would come up, but it would do the animation. So it was like it was desyncing, and either it wasn't actually doing the damage or it wasn't showing the animation. I don't know which it was, but I had that happen, and then it wasn't because of canceling either. Like it wasn't like animation canceling stuff. It was all like I would hit a button and nothing would happen, and then I would hit a button again and finally it would fire. So it was kind of weird because that's the first time on PlayStation 5 that I kind of remember what it felt like on PlayStation 4. Like, it was that significant to me that it felt clunky, you know?
Yeah, and I was having problems. That might have been when we ran Wayrest because I don't think we were having issues when we were running with those other guys. Um,
Well, I definitely did,
well,
but I don't.
the same issues because I got booted like
Yeah.
twice, right?
Yeah, you did. You got
But
booted twice.
but wasn't that was not when we were with them, was it?
Mm,
Because I don't remember having to like say anything to like, hey, hold on,
no.
got booted, you know.
Yeah, it
Um,
wasn't with them. It was afterwards when you and I were porting into Wayrest that you got
yeah.
booted twice. But we
So
also had a weird issue with them when we all ported in. It was the weird bug where you and I both had companions out, and it showed like all of us in a group together, but they
mm,
weren't there.
yeah.
And then they showed up after. It was very weird. So, yeah, I don't know. It was just a little clunky. Dungeons have been pretty smooth for me personally on the 5, and I actually did notice like a significant gameplay difference for myself on this console, but not the other night. It was yucky. So much so that I actually messaged some people in Discord and said, "Hey, have you run any trials or dungeons lately? And have you noticed any of this happening?" And it was kind of like, no, because a lot of people are waiting for the update 35 stuff. They're not progging. They're not really running anything right now because they don't want to be working towards something that they have to start over at.
Yeah.
So, you know, because of that, I think a lot of people are kind of like backing off the game a little bit, or at least off some of that content for the time being until we kind of see where things land.
I did
So,
see where Nephis posted something about, I guess his community or whatever having quite a few trial leads that
oh yeah,
just weren't there. I mean, it was a significant drop,
yeah,
and they were like, used to be, regular runs, and now it's kind of like it's harder to get groups together because there's so many people that are just not interested in playing at the moment.
yeah.
Um,
That has to do with their Project Vitality stuff. I actually
yeah.
listened to some good stuff on that this week. We can talk about that later if you want, or we can
Um,
talk about it now. It doesn't matter, but
Either way, I don't know a ton about it. I just know that I saw just that little brief. I
yeah.
think he just posted like a screenshot or something on the like
Mm-hmm.
the YouTube thing where you could just put a screenshot, which is weird. I don't go to YouTube for screenshots, but there they are. Um, but I just happened to see that one little thing about it. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we. All right. Well, we've already discussed Elvis Girls Online, and
Yeah, we
yeah,
did.
yeah, and how that's a. Oh, I had this in there, and I didn't quite. I mean, I said it, but I didn't say it exactly the way that I typed this in. That um, that apparently the reason we start so late is because this is the game that I'm playing, and I have to wait till my wife goes to bed because I'm not supposed to be playing that. So I'm trying to be sneaky and not let her know. Uh, but
Oh.
I have been communicating back and forth in a group chat with folks that knew about this, and she's in that.
Oh.
And I said something and was like, "You do know your wife's in this chat too, right?" It's like, "Yep."
Amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, and then we have some notes on what some other folks have done.
Yeah.
Um,
Gwen drew some cool artwork.
yeah, I have been immortalized in ink or
You sure have.
watercolor or I mean I'm not quite sure the medium used.
Digital. I don't know,
Um,
some sort of digital paint.
yeah, um, but it is really cool picture of me and Sasquatch and his bear proclaiming the truth.
Flat nerd.
Flat and earn, just a couple of flat nerdists hanging out. Um,
Uh,
but
it's,
go ahead.
I was gonna say the best part is that she put you in Grahtwood too, which makes it even funnier. And then she tweeted today like, just so you know who to watch out for in Grahtwood, stay away from these guys.
Oh, I missed that.
I
Uh,
think something along those lines.
I'll have to go back
Maybe
and
that was
look
our
for
group
that.
chat, but I'm pretty sure that she also did tweet at you about, or not maybe mention you, but at least
That's funny.
mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, drew a picture of the flat Nernest so everyone knows who to avoid in Eldenroot.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I loved it. Um,
And I put, yes, our wonderful co-hosts.
that's all right. It's 50. It's a 50-50 split. So, um, and so yeah. Uh,
It's true.
one day maybe we'll have a proper discussion on that. Someone may or may not have said that when they're back on the show, uh, the intent is no less than 15 minutes. So, um, anyway,
Amazing.
we'll see.
Amazing.
What about you?
Well, towards the end of May, mid-year, May, not mid-year. Yeah, whatever. That's what it was. White Strake's Mayhem. That's what I was trying to say.
White Snake's Return?
Yes, White Snake's Return. Uh, oh, sorry. I just got distracted. Lear Hall wrote in the chat for the Twitch. He said, "You just have to get her to play the game too. Have you introduced her to Darian yet?" He was responding to your
about
wife
my wife?
playing.
Um,
Yes.
yeah. Uh,
And then we
no.
also have a first-time chat viewer, Benji4 Alpha, that says, "That's why I always play late. My wife hates me playing ESO."
Well, at least you're not playing EGO, okay? Yeah.
That's true.
ESO has got to be just leaps and bounds better than Elvis Girls Online. Because that game, if that game even gets produced, I might just have to go get a copy to frame because clearly they stole my idea. Anyway, carry on.
Um, yeah, so for the end of Mayhem, I essentially finished out the style pages that were there, so that was good. I did lots of falling asleep in game this week because apparently the High Isle music is very relaxing, and every time I try and go to do writs there late at night, I wake up a little while later.
I don't
So,
think it's fair of you to blame the high isle music. I've seen you fall asleep with combat music, so
okay,
you
fair,
know. Um,
fair.
so I don't
That's
think it's accurate to blame the music. I think that's a little unfair to the music.
okay. All right. Well, I guess you're right. So yeah, I literally did quite a bit more falling asleep probably in game than I actually did game time. But what game time I did have, I progressed a little bit more in the Fargrave storyline, so that's good. Liking that so far. Man, the voices of the people that they got for the Zivkin and the Daedra in that DLC are really awesome. Um, it's fun how dry some of it is, like their dialogue, and sarcastic at the same time, but it also gives you a lot of insight into how the Daedra and the Zivkin view like Men and Mer, even more so than we already know. And it just the disapproval that they have of Lyranth working with your player's character is quite fun to listen to their dialogue. So it's been a good time going through there. I think I'm about halfway through that particular storyline or quest line at this point. So I'm hoping I can finish that up soon. I haven't really been doing a lot of the side quests in Fargrave. I've just been kind of plowing through the main quest, which, you know, I know usually when you do that, you kind of miss out on some of your stuff at the end because a lot of times at the end of quest chains, everybody shows up to help you or something, and then you can talk to all the people at the end. So I'm debating on whether I want to just go ahead and plow through and finish it, or whether I want to stop and try and do some of the side quests so that I get other people to show off or show up, I guess I could say. So yeah, but did that. Made some sassy posts in Discord about you for your Extra Life stream. Tweeted some random stuff about snug pods and housing. I did a video on my house, my Sijic villa. Actually last night. Didn't fall asleep for that. But yeah, just kind of decided to do that because I tweeted out a picture of my Snugpod and just how it was kind of randomly thrown together. And quite a few people said some really, really nice stuff and liked it and retweeted it and all that. So I thought, well, why not? Let's throw out my other house that is mostly decorated kind of randomly, but also in kind of a fun way. So yeah, that's about it. So like a lot of little things rather than like one or two big things in game, I would say.
Very cool. I have not done just a ton in game. The last week or so, the last few nights, I've actually just sort of, well, I've had other things going on a little bit too. So um, instead of getting online, I've tried to go to bed. Doesn't always work, but I do occasionally at least try to get to sleep at a reasonable hour. But so a lot of times when it would be the time I got on, it was like I should probably not, because if I start, it's gonna be a good while before I quit. And
Yep.
like when we get on to run a dungeon and then we're running like 3.
Hey, that was for you. You needed to farm some
I
stuff.
know, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, you know, that's usually how that happens. We say we're only going to do a single dungeon, and 2 hours later we're still cutting up and whatever, and that's just the
Or,
way it goes.
hey, we're going to start this podcast and we're going to start at 11 p.m. every night when we do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we don't do that either.
No, because then
That's all right.
we get home late and got kids to get in bed, and
That's right.
you know,
Life.
life.
Just life things.
Those of you with parents those of you with parents, those of you who are parents, maybe those of you with parents, I don't, some of you may have to get them to bed too. I don't know.
Yeah, or yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on your origin story in game as well, right?
Yeah. But those of you who have kids, and you understand. So, and those of you that don't might have other reasons that you get it too. So.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. We also have a note in here. Our other co-host who's not with us tonight, he bought a bunch of stickers.
Yeah, he bought a bunch of Sasquatch stickers. That's about the only thing that he said this week in our messages. So I was like, all right, I'll put that in the show notes. He bought a bunch of Sasquatch stickers. Okay.
So
also it's his wife's birthday, so happy birthday, Mrs. Sasquatch.
Happy birthday. Should we sing?
I don't know that it would.
Here's your birthday song. It isn't very long. Hey.
Hey.
There we go. So now you have a birthday song being sung to you, to all of our millions and millions of inner ear parts that are hearing this.
Ouch.
Yeah. This is what happens late at night. We say nonsense. Yeah. So what you need to do is you need to tweet our Snug Podcast account, and you need to tag Sasquatch or mention him or whatever Twitter language. You need to call him out and say you must post pictures of the various places you put your Sasquatch stickers.
This is true.
Yeah. Is it on your front door? Is it on your car window? Is it on some random tree? Share.
Or maybe he's keeping them all for himself. Maybe he just collects Sasquatch stickers.
I also have a note from the other creator of the Elvis Girls Online, when we were talking about we're probably going to lose listeners. I got this message. Well, that's pessimistic. I project massive growth in listeners. So I thought I should share.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you, whomever you are.
Yeah. So I think we should definitely let Sasquatch tell us about the journeys that his stickers take. Maybe that can be a recurring thing today this week on Sasquatch stickers, and let him tell the story that only he can tell.
That's right.
Because I don't know what you do with large amounts of Sasquatch stickers. All right.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, never mind. I'm not sure. He just posted, I'm sorry, did someone say my name in our group chat? Anyway, all right. Well,
All
before
right.
we get completely way out of touch with what we're supposed to be doing,
I think we're well beyond that.
that's probably fair. Well, what was funny with the news this week is there wasn't a whole lot at first, and then all of a sudden a bunch of things popped up in the last few days. It's not really like news, you could say, for the game, but it's still some fun news-ish type stuff, I guess. Yeah. So, um, I think most everybody is kind of just focused on the PTS and seeing those notes and whatnot, um, and kind of where they landed. It's been pretty quiet, I would say. Not
Yeah.
quiet from the community necessarily, but just quiet in general because of how heavy this PTS cycle has been with everything going on.
The final pass is done, right?
Yeah, they're up. If you can go, they're
Right.
actually in there, the Elder Scrolls Discord. I just didn't link them in because I knew that, like you said earlier, if we started talking PTS notes, it was going to be a whole episode in itself. So
Yeah.
maybe for another week.
Yeah. There's probably quite a few. That kind of thing almost deserves its own show. It's just
Yeah,
those
that's what I
notes
was
are
thinking.
probably kind of long, especially if there's several of us. If everybody's here,
Hmm.
4 different points of view on some of those changes.
Yeah.
We could be looking at a 2-hour long show just discussing patch notes. So,
Yep.
um, but they're up and available if you want to go check those out, and we might discuss those at some point. But that some point's not likely to be this evening.
That is true.
So what is this top thing we've got here? I'm not going to attempt that.
Genhedro, I think, or Genhedrio. I should have actually messaged him and asked him how to properly pronounce his name. He's a lore seeker, and he does a lot of cosplay and building of stuff from the game. He is the one that built the dwarven spider that was recognized and featured before on the Elder Scrolls website, and he's done it again, and now he has made this dwarven refabricated armor.
Oh, I did
So,
see this. I didn't realize that this was
yeah.
a lore seeker.
Yeah, and it's so awesome because they actually took the armor and then went and did some photo shoot stuff with it. So if you follow him on Twitter, every time he makes something, he goes through the whole process and kinds of shows everything step by step. And it's been really fun to watch him do this piece because it's very impressive. It's really intricately detailed and just it's awesome. There's a picture of him in the actual costume without the helmet on. So it's pretty fun. Um, but yeah, he it's this article that they have essentially for the community spotlight is almost like an interview with him, and then it's got the photos added into it, which is really, really fun.
Yeah, these are
So
really cool. I'm looking at those now.
yeah, just very, very intricate, and it's fun to see the process. So without, of course, reading the whole article, because like I said, it's kind of an interview essentially, but it's really cool to look at how he starts. There's pictures here of the base of him just building the pieces, because this actual build is mostly done out of, I believe he said EVA foam. Yeah, the main material I used during the process was the EVA foam. And the finish on this particular piece is so beautiful. The metallic paint just pops really, really awesomely on this armor that he's done. So um, you can tell that he is just so passionate about this and cares so much about the detailing and just the whole process and step by step of everything that he was doing. So
They
um,
asked what he thought, what they if he had to pick one aspect of the build he was most proud of, what would it be? And he said probably the shield. He constructed it so it's magnetically attachable to the back of his chest armor while keeping the magnets concealed. So he can keep it on his
Yeah.
back while he's moving in the outfit, but still easily detachable when he wants to wield it. So and it
Yeah.
looks like a shield in game. You just toss it over on your back. Yeah, it's
Yep.
awesome.
It's so cool. That, and I think if I remember correctly, the actual axe that he has, that he built for this, I think it kind of like comes apart. Like I think you can actually unscrew it for travel, which is really fun too. Or maybe, well, it doesn't look like he has an axe. Maybe he's building an axe. Yeah, because this one's a sword and shield set. So that might be another project that he's working on right now. Or maybe I'm just completely confused and have him confused with another ESO cosplayer. But I was pretty sure that I saw an axe or something that he had done at some point as well.
This is the kind
But
of costume that it would be really funny to see uh, him like stationed outside a door at an event and just stand there until
yeah,
people walk by and then just boo. Just because he'd look like a statue just standing. That's so cool. Um, wow. Does it say anywhere in here about the amount of hours it took to do that?
um, I don't believe so,
Let's-
but I'm sure we could just ask him.
Um,
I'm looking because
yeah.
this is actually based upon a trial, like heavy set, I believe. Yeah, nope, it doesn't say anything about it, but I bet we could actually ask him in Discord and he would respond. He's very good with that stuff, especially if we just tagged him. So maybe that's a fun question that we can bring up the next time that we're on the show. Maybe we can get the answer to that question.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Um,
Very cool.
yeah, and I love the very last thing that they said with him too is, do you have any advice for people who wish to craft outfits like this? And it was basically just be patient with yourself and take your time, and don't be focused on the final result. Just enjoy doing it because making something is already doing something amazing. I mean, those aren't his exact words, but that's definitely the feeling that you got from his answer, which is really fun because it's encouraging for people who might want to cosplay but just aren't, feel like, oh, why would I go to make something because it's never going to be, as good as this or as good as some other cosplayers out there. But that's not the point of cosplay. The point of cosplay is to have fun and to make something that you're passionate about. So, pretty
Right.
cool.
Definitely.
There you go. So that's a community spotlight. You can find it on elderscrollsonline.com. It's under the news section if you want to see the photos and take a look at them because they are most impressive.
Yeah. I will try to get those included in our show notes for this week's episode. And it's going to really throw people off when they see the title and then those show notes. Um, but yeah, definitely encourage you to go check that out. It's really cool.
For sure.
I am looking something else. Okay, all right. I was looking for something related to this next thing. Um, all right. So next on the list we've got Michael Zinke.
Yep, that's a new lore master, Michael
Um,
Zenke.
he's done some tweets about the AI ESO art, which can be found on the forums.
Yep.
Um,
So
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead. No, no, no.
No, no, you.
No,
No, you.
no,
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 you.
no. You've probably
No,
read
you.
it. You've probably read it more. Go ahead.
I didn't read it more. I just kind of looked at it. But
Ah. So
you said you were looking up something.
basically, yeah, basically, if you're familiar with the movie Terminator, um, Skynet is taking over. Okay, um, Skynet is taking over, and it's starting in the world of really cool art.
We
Um,
are not breaking lore at all here.
uh, no, no. Um, the uh, the Sijics know how to scry those movies. Um,
Sure. Sure they
uh,
do.
but yeah, so there's an AI program that there's a user, Saucy Jack, that was just putting things that he was given into the AI, and it was generating art and everything from landscapes from ESO to Molag Bal, just crazy looking stuff. And to think that he just, what were some of the examples you gave earlier?
Oh, well, he prompted originally just Elder Scrolls Online, and it came up with some really like gnarly looking kind of Viking vine work. It had some landscapes with these really, really big like towers and rock formations, and then it had like a bookshelf almost with all of these different books. So that was just like the basic prompt that he put in. But then he asked other people to share prompts, and some of the ones that people came up with were really funny, like Cold Harbor in the style of Lisa Frank. So the AI took that, obviously, because it doesn't necessarily, there was no Elder Scrolls Online parameter. So it just chose like a bunch of ocean waves and colored them like Lisa Frank rainbow color. And then it's weird because if you look, it's almost like hidden in the photo. I feel like you can see like animals, like a cat face and all sorts of silly things like that. But then people started to make it a lot more specific. So someone actually prompted dragons in your homeland, and they ended up with this like landscape with this weird cloud formation that looks like a dragon. Somebody prompted Clockwork City, and it came up with this really cool like steampunk aesthetic looking city, which is pretty accurate to the game, but just slightly different. And one of the other ones that was really, really good was somebody prompted Sothasil, Vivek, and Almalexia. And it came up with a really interesting AI art piece of the three of them. So lots of cool stuff in this forum thread. I thought it was fun that the lore master tweeted about it because, he's obviously in the forums looking at what, people are posting and saying and asking and all of those things. So pretty fun stuff there with that. Yeah. There's another one too. I guess there's another one called Dolly, which is another AI program, and it comes up with a slightly different art style. And they put Elder Scrolls Online into that one, and it came up with more of like a, like a temple aesthetic, almost kind of Lord of the Ringsy, is what I'll call it, or like, in a berm or in a mountain, that sort of a thing. Almost like
burial mounds.
Like a burial mound type scenario, which is interesting.
Yeah, they're kind of
like a henge, but like a henge, like a buried henge. Yeah. Molag Bal came up with some really creepy lava pool, stuff. Someone posted, meanwhile, in the ESO department, did you guys see the Midjourney art AI bot? And the artists all say, get out! That's not necessarily true, of course. That's just someone being silly, but it is kind of funny. So yeah, this person just kept taking prompts from people that they wanted and doing them. The other one that stood out to me that's really, really beautiful is someone had Telvanni Peninsula, Morrowind, Elder Scrolls Online chapter, landscape. Those were all the parameters that it put in, and it came up with this beautiful landscape that's kind of just like that. Yeah, it was quite beautiful. So
the Molag Bal
cool
thing says, if it's one of the comments says, if Molag Bal was an Elden Ring boss, that is a creepy looking. Yeah, that's creepy looking. Definitely would not want to encounter that out strolling through the woods.
Nope, sure wouldn't. Sure would not.
Yep.
So
very cool. So when Skynet's done creating art, it's coming for you next. You are, yeah. Kidding. Skynet's not a thing yet. Skynet will be invented at the same time as Elvis Girls Online.
Oh my.
And then we've also got some things from the Bethesda Gear Store that were released at QuakeCon, or will be released at QuakeCon. When is
They're
QuakeCon?
not released yet. One actually comes out tomorrow, I think. And then one might be released. I'd have to go look at the actual link. But yeah, there are 2 Elder Scrolls shirts that are being released in the Bethesda Gear Store for QuakeCon. One is a Molag Bal shirt with the Ouroboros. It's pretty cool because it actually has a graphic on the front and the back. A lot of times I feel like the ESO shirts are more one-sided with the graphics. So this one's got it front and back. And then the one that I am seriously considering getting is the Legacy of the Breton tee that they're going to release. It has the fist crushing the crown on the front, almost on like a... I don't think it's an actual pocket. It just looks kind of like pocket-shaped because it's the shield
Right.
of the fist crushing the crown. And then on the back it has the Ascendant Lord with the 3 banners all together and the sword. So it's almost like the statuette that they released, the letter opener thing that Sasquatch has. It looks very similar to that pose that they've been using for all the promotional stuff. So that's supposed to release on the 19th, and the Molag Bal one is supposed to release tomorrow.
What does
Tuesday.
that say on the back of the Molag Bal one? It's the mace. Looking at that, and that's the mace. I can't remember what that thing's called.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think it just says Molag Bal.
It's just the font that it's
Daedric.
in is okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not brushed up on my Daedric, so I'd have to open up a
Yeah.
open up a little alphabet there, but that's
those are cool.
what I would guess. They're real cool looking. I'm excited. I want to see what the prices are for those.
I think I would actually like the Legacy of the Breton shirt, a version of that just has the fist and a bigger graphic.
Yeah, that would be cool too. There is also something coming out that I forgot to mention, and this one is for all of you Magicka users out there, perhaps. There is a Black Soul Gem book bundle that's coming out. So it is a amethyst crystal that is mounted in a book box, or a box that is designed after a conjuration tome from Skyrim. And when you open it up, it has, like the symbol, the Daedric symbol on the front of the
Black Soul
book.
Gem 1 $7.50.
Yep. Like, I want to know how much that's going to be too, because that looks beautiful.
Yeah, that's probably not going to be an inexpensive item if I had to guess.
I would guess not by the size of the amethyst.
Yeah.
I would guess more money than I would want to spend on said soul gem, but also quite lovely and beautifully done. So we'll have to wait and see.
That is where I find myself on most gaming related collectible things. Lots of really cool ones out there, all the way out of the range of what I want to spend on them.
Yep.
But definitely really cool. About the only outside of the one really cool collectible that I got was from another game that if you did enough achievements, you they priced the shirt at $1,000. I think it was $1,000, and that was meant to be prohibitive. Is that the right word? Yeah. So if you did certain achievements in game, it would allow you to essentially get I don't know if they gave a code or what, but it discounted the shirt to $20 or whatever.
Whoa.
So the only way you could get that shirt, because it was a crest of
was
the
by
different,
doing the achievement.
Yeah, it was a crest with the different achievement things on it, and you could pay like $5 extra or something and get your PSN ID or Xbox Game Pass, not Game Pass, gamer tag, whichever platform you play on. You could have that put on the sleeve, and so So that was a
That's
cool
really
thing.
cool.
Yeah, that was a cool thing to get. I don't play that game anymore, but I think it would be cool to get something like that. ESO related. I can't remember if the proceeds from that went to some sort of charity thing. I feel like they did, but I don't recall what it was off the top of my head. It's been so long ago now, um, but yeah, these are definitely some cool looking items. And again, I'll put these links in show notes, and go check out the shirts and the. Of course, there's other stuff on there from their other games too, Fallout and Doom.
Yeah.
But yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
And okay, just looking back here. All right, so
that's okay.
moving on from those things, we've got preview for Lost Depths.
Yep, that came out, and wow. Yeah, wow. It's the best way to describe it. The artwork that they have listed at the top of this article on ElderScrollsOnline.com is. I cannot wait to play this dungeon. That's the best way to say
Are
it.
we going to be in a bubble the whole time?
I don't think you're in a bubble the whole time, but I do know that you are in a bubble at some point because I've seen footage of it. So this this particular dungeon is not like your normal dungeon in terms of how you enter, which is very different. For this dungeon, you essentially wash up on the shore to kind of start the story point. And that's all the more I'm going to say with that because A, I haven't played it, and B, that's what was given in the preview here. But I guess apparently you wash up on an uncharted island and you realize that there are these dwarven ruins underneath the island or on the island, and that's what you're going through, I think. Finn, when they asked him about it, they said, your goal in Graven Deep is to help Dulaf. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce his name. He's one of the Meet the characters that he's the second one, the one that we were waiting on to release. He finally came out. But anyway, Finn says, Dulaf is looking for information on the legendary Druid King and his voyage to the Sisters that leads through this area in particular. What he discovers will have ramifications for both the archipelago and the Druids of High Isle. So this is going to be a direct lead-in into the last, I would guess, part of their story that they're going to tell. Because if it's going to get heavily into the Druids and obviously describe and explain more of what's been going on with the main quest line, perhaps, or at least with what's going to be happening in perhaps the Q4 DLC. It says this island might appear like any other surrounding Tamriel when exploring, and you and your party will soon discover a massive dwarven complex beneath the waves, a chance for the dungeon team to create something very unique. Graven Deep gave us the chance to explore dwarven technology not seen in Tamriel before. Built long ago, this place was once an underwater observatory, and being able to send players to the depths of the ocean was an awesome opportunity.
So
there's a...
Go ahead. No, it's speculation, so go ahead.
I was just going to say they've done another one of those, you can look around video things, and it looks awesome because it reminds me of the house that they released, that you had all the windows where you could see the fish and all the stuff outside. It's very similar to that.
I'm trying to look at that now, but it's a little wonky.
Might be on mobile, yeah.
Yeah. Another time. So, in the artwork in the top of the article, and you said you've seen a little bit of it, but it shows shows what I assume is the player in some sort of bubble while they're underwater, I'm assuming.
Looks like they're outside of the...
So
it looks like there's times when you might be inside the ruins and times when you're outside the ruins.
I wonder if there gonna be some sort of drowning mechanic with that. Like if
Oh
you
my.
fall, if something happens, and I mean to burst your bubble, uh, do you have to like get back to your bubble before you drown, or go get a new one? Like that definitely opens up uh, some interesting mechanic ideas. I have no idea what they're doing, but that's where my mind goes initially, is that this is going to be some sort of um, timed deal where maybe you have to do something in a certain amount of time, or your bubble bursts and you get all the bad news rushing in at once.
That would be a fun hard mode mechanic. Like if on normal your bubble didn't do anything, it was just kind of there all the time. But on like a no death hard mode speed run, your
Yeah,
bubbles were timed.
yeah, that definitely would be fun.
That sounds like torture. Sounds right up everybody's alley.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught the sarcasm in my voice there or not, but it was there. It was
Oh yeah.
definitely implied.
I did not. Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, very cool. Yeah, we've said it multiple times here, but these last several dungeon releases they've done have been really, really good. The secret bosses, and we're gonna fight a giant fish in this one, I think. But um,
You definitely find something that looks like a giant lobster from hell, if we're being honest. If you scroll down to a picture, it literally looks like this creepy lobster crawfish had a lid from somewhere beyond. It looks scary.
oh, is that
Scary.
the euphotic gatekeeper thing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I usually am not, but
Euphotic?
yeah,
Gatekeeper? Yeah.
but yeah, that ugh, gross.
And it looks like he's gonna have some fun mechanics with him.
Yeah.
So, Finn mentioned something. I won't say anything because I don't want to spoil it. Uh-oh, I might have kid aggro. Hold on.
Oh.
Carry on.
All right. Well, while she is away with kid aggro, um, for those of you that don't know what kid aggro is, that's when the child taunts the parent and says, "You must come pay attention to me now, because you're the parent, and I need you to come and take care of me because I'm a child." Um, yeah. Anyway, so now you've had your lesson in the outside game mechanics of aggro, and basically I'm just filling space. I feel like I'm doing that a lot anyway. I just kind of ramble sometimes, and you guys are probably like, "Man, this guy never ever." I mean, he comes up with these nonsense things like EGO, and yeah. Anyway, I guess I could take this moment to plug my friend Gone Crazy. Is also an Extra Life team member, and I don't have her direct page thing handy at the moment, but you can go check her out, as well as the whole team. Go in and you can see the different hospitals that people there are supporting, and if you're nearby to one of those and want to support one of them, you can look up Elder Heroes through the Extra Life website. I'm sure you should be able to find it. And I'm still new to it, still learning and getting ready to do my first thing for it. But yeah, they have been doing this for a while and have raised quite a bit of money, and definitely worth checking out. So go check out this crazy person who is away at the moment, or at least we think that she is, and show a little support. And yeah. Are you back?
I am. I'm back.
Cool beans.
I'm back.
Yeah, I was just singing and doing show tunes.
No, you weren't.
I might have been.
You might have been.
What if I was?
Well, then you did it too soon. You should have saved it as an Extra Life thing.
It's not too late. That was just a
That's true.
teaser. You like what you heard here, guys? Come check me out on Tuesday. I might even pull out my own lute or guitar and
Hmm.
really, really bless your ears with wonderful sounds of that. Try not happening though. Anyway, all right. Well, you're back. I took the time to explain what kid aggro was because not everybody's familiar with the out of game mechanics that is aggro.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
so,
Yeah.
uh,
I had some kid aggro, but he's good now.
good.
Although I did forget to close the door, so hopefully me talking doesn't wake him up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Did you finish out the dungeon thing or no?
No, because I was lost.
You were lost in the Lost Depths
Yeah,
preview?
yeah. See, well, I mean, I didn't want to get ahead without you.
Oh,
That
okay. Okay.
we're in this together, and if I get ahead
Mm-hmm.
and you come back and you're all
50,
lost,
50.
exactly,
50,
exactly.
50.
Um, yeah, we were just discussing this ugly thing we're apparently going to have to fight, and you said that Finn mentioned something about mechanics that you weren't going to spoil, and then you left.
That's right. I got so passionate about it, and I didn't want to spoil anything, so I actually muted my mic and got up and walked away.
If I stay here any longer, I'm going to spoil this.
That's right. That's right. Um,
Reminds me of
yeah.
an
So you
episode
can.
of Psych where they tie a guy down and he's like, "You better keep me quiet. I'll squeal like a pig to anybody who asks."
Oh my.
Anyway,
Uh,
carry on.
yeah. Carry on. Um, yeah. So things that you get out of here. Apparently, there's of course new armor sets, new monster helm, achievement, collectible, all of that stuff. I believe we talked about one of the other sets previously, but the one that they point out in this is called Grave Inevitability, and it's supposed to be great for DPS and healers because it will help you make use of major or minor force. If you've got, they're targeting specifically pickup groups here. Um, but it says since major force has so few sources, this lets you have a little more flexibility with your ability bar as part of a pug group or a whole team if you're much more organized and you're, all kind of working together to see who's keeping which things up, I guess, or helping buff the group. But the 5-piece part of it says dealing damage with a light or heavy attack grants you a stack of Remorseless for 5 seconds, up to 5 stacks, up to once every zero point 0.5 seconds. Um, yes, while you have 5 stacks, you generate an aura of focus granting you major force, increasing your crit damage by 20%. That's big. While you have an aura of focus, allies within 12 meters of you will gain minor force, increasing their crit damage by 10%. So, quite a bit there for you and a group.
What is it that Kenra's gives you? It's kind of the same
Kinra's
thing. It gives you
gives
major and everybody
you.
else minor. Um,
Yeah, I think so. Give me 1 second.
I can't
It
remember.
gives you. I'm pulling it up right now. Major Berserk and Minor Berserk.
Okay, all right.
So if you have 5 stacks, you get an Aura of Wrath, which grants you Major Berserk, increasing damage done by 10%. And while you have an Aura of Wrath, allies within 12 meters gain Minor Berserk, increasing their damage done by 5%.
Interesting.
Yep. So it's a larger number for this set for the Minor and Major Force. It's an increase from what you would see on Kinrys. But yeah, so that's a little bit about the Lost Depths preview when it comes to Graven. This is Graven Deep, right? Yes, Graven Deep. Pretty fun. It says we're going to uncover the secrets of the Druid King.
Druid King.
Super exciting.
Is this implying that the Ascendant Lord is a Druid King?
Oh, I don't know. Don't spoil anything. I haven't even started the High Isle quest. I don't know.
Oh, I'm not spoiling anything. I'm asking a question. It's just speculative
Guess it could be.
because I haven't finished it yet either. But I don't know if that's the same person or if that's the Druid King is his own thing and completely
Well,
separate.
considering there's a lich at the end of the dungeon, maybe that's the old Druid King, or maybe that's somebody else altogether different. Not too sure. We'll have to see when we play the storyline.
I suppose so. I suppose so.
And
So,
that is it for that preview.
is that all of the news outside of PTS stuff?
That's it.
My goodness. Um, well, once again, we find ourselves at this stuff that we've been waiting because we really, really want our wardens to be here with us to talk about this stuff. But they're not here again. So, do we wait again? Or should we read these? What do you think?
I'm fine with either.
Let's see. Let's go ahead and read them. What do you say?
Let's do it.
You want to take the first one, and I'll take the second one.
Sure.
All right, go for it.
All right. So the first meet the character is about Druid Laurel. And it says, headstrong and bold, Druid Laurel travels the sisters seeking ancient lore. Learn a little bit more about this inquisitive druid in this Meet the Character. Druid Rovel, I'm afraid that there's been some misunderstanding concerning the scholar you asked me to welcome into our village. When I received your message, I was puzzled. What did we at Stonelore Grove have to offer a druid from Galen? Especially one as traveled as your letter suggested. Is it true that she'd spent time on Iflon? I asked her about how the fire song fared, but she wasn't forthcoming. She likewise hasn't informed me of the natures of her studies, only that they revolve around the last Druid King. I know we have nothing to offer her on that front. Many records from that time have been lost to us, as you well know. Still, we welcomed her as you requested, and we showed Druid Laurel to our archives and introduced her to the oldest members of our village. She feigned interest very politely, but quickly turned her attention to the Undergrove. We're not entirely sure how she knows about the Undergrove, but Druid Estin found her wandering about the rocks and roots, searching for the Evergrowth. It appears that she wants to speak to the Evergrowth, but what information she hopes to glean from our nature spirit I cannot say. To be completely honest, if you hadn't written me in advance, I would have thrown her out as a thief or a troublemaker. Still, despite my misgivings, I should clarify that Druid Laurel hasn't stolen anything. Her worst crime is speaking explicatives aloud around the younger members of our community. She's strong-willed with a precocious streak that could blast a leaf off of a branch. But her good qualities are plentiful and shine through her every interaction. She's passionate about the Druidic way of life and upholds the true way. To hear her speak on the founding principles of our faith is to see hope for the future generations of Druids. She's kind as well, always willing to stop her work to lend a hand or an ear to whoever requests it of her. And finally, she's more aligned than many other visitors to our village, able to adapt to our routines with ease. In fact, Druid Laurel's easygoing nature has earned her many friends among our community despite all of her rougher edges. Just the other day, while we were tending to the vegetable garden, she came up behind me and started picking weeds of her own volition. I hope you know that we never expect our guests to take part in our daily work, especially when they clearly have their own tasks to see to. But Laurel cheerfully said that sifting through pages and tablets made her miss the feeling of dirt under her nails, so she worked beside us until nightfall. The truest statement I can make about your protégée is that I could never attempt to predict what she would do. Upon first meeting, she seemed pleasant and enthusiastic, but with enough decorum that I was sure she'd been schooled among the other nobles of Gunfallen Bay. But there was something in her tone, a coolness and a spark that made me question how well this visit would go. But now that is nearing its end, and Druid Laurel is already discussing the next group of druids she'll spend time with, and I can't help but feel that we'll miss her presence. In short, all I can say is that we'll be sad when Druid Laurel leaves to Stonelore Grove. Her time among us has altered the routine of our lives in new and interesting ways, and she'll leave a mark on us, if for no other reason than root rot has been firmly planted in our vernacular. Yours in the true way, Elder Carrick. So the closeout of that one said, Druid Laurel has a clear impact on those she meets in her travels, and you'll have an opportunity to team up with the earnest scholar yourself when exploring Eldenroot Enclave, one of the 2 new dungeons coming as part of the Lost Depths DLC. So there you go.
Very cool. Is this the same? I'm trying to remember. Have we met this druid already? And you haven't done the story yet, though, right?
I haven't, but I believe that she is the one that you meet outside of Gunfallen Bay. Is she the one that you meet in the hut?
I was so thrown off because when I did that at first, we were still having that visual bug where they were invisible, so they were floating heads and arms. I think so. Anyway.
I'm not sure about that, actually. Related quests, Sojourn of the Druid King and the Stonelorn Defense. I don't know that she is. I think the druid that's in the main quest line is someone different.
Maybe so.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
we clearly are the experts on this subject.
I mean, I haven't gotten to do the quest line yet at all, so.
Yeah, I'm very sporadic in it, so yeah. All right. And then the second one is we mentioned this person earlier, Dulef.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're gonna go with, and I am probably not as good at pretending like I know how to pronounce things, so we'll see how this goes. But the Red
And
Guard.
the funny thing is, oh, sorry, I was gonna say, I think we left you to read the female letter too, which makes it even better.
I mean, if you want to read this one too, you can.
No. I want to hear you read it.
Impersonations are not going to happen. So.
Darn.
The Red Guard Dulef may have retired from the high seas, but he still has an adventure or two left in him. Learn more about the unlikely pirate turned mage in our latest Meet the Character. Now that's interesting in and of itself. A pirate turned mage. Mages or pirates are generally like the swashbuckler, swords and that kind of thing. And for one to start learning how to be a mage, I mean, besides they're all stamina. It's a Red Guard. I'm confused. Anyway. Lady Lissa? Have you seen him? The new mage bouncing around Castle Mornard? I think Count Mornard is considering offering him a position as the new court mage. His name is Dulef, and you simply must burn this letter after reading it. Regardless, I had to get this out. I had to tell someone. He's so handsome, and not in the way that's typical of Castle Mornard. No perfumed silks or uptight smiles when it comes to this man. He's full of wide grins, and he refuses to wear whatever the latest fashions are. He dresses for practicality, and yet somehow makes it look divine. Have you ever seen such a thing? He used to be a pirate, an actual pirate, not just one of those lazy common dockhands that move Mornard goods across the archipelago and pretend to be salt-worn and hardy. He's been all over Tamriel and tells all kinds of stories. Most of his tales are unfit for court, mind you. Those are usually my favorite, and he's not shy about sharing them with whoever wants to listen. The other night, over a bit of wine, he told me a harrowing tale about a shark with a belly full of ears. All types of ears, too. It made me shudder with horror, but the notes of his low, velvety voice made me shudder with something else entirely. He has a wonderful laugh. It booms in the halls like claps of thunder. This place could use more noise like that, and more men like Dulef. He doesn't seem to care what anyone thinks about him. I know some people whisper about how an ex-pirate shouldn't be allowed at court. They think it's unbecoming. Apparently, Dulef was a pirate for most of his life before becoming a mage. He's a member of the Mages Guild, you know. His past life as a pirate is totally transparent, but I don't mean that in a disparaging way. He has a roguishness that's so starkly different from the blandness of court existence. You can tell he's lived a rich life full of adventure and danger, what with all those delicious scars. And he walks the halls as if they're the decks of a ship. Such confidence, such swagger. But there's a softness to him that I've noticed. I've had the pleasure of talking to him, not just about his hair-raising stories, but about his love of magic, too. He's so passionate. Once he even got a bit emotional when telling me how he was saved by the Stone Lore Druids. Apparently, that experience is what made him decide to study magic in the first place. He left his life of piracy behind because he was so entranced by the way magic could alter the world around him. He said something about likening it to the sea and loving how unpredictable and utterly powerful such a force could be. He has such a brilliant, fascinating mind. I can't decide if I want him to read to me from a tome of spells or take me out on a boat, and perhaps I'll leave those particular musings for my diary. I must tell Count Mornard that I totally approve of the decision to appoint him to the court, and that he must do so at once. Dulaf mentioned to me the last time we talked that he was off to help some druid named Laurel. I don't know what I'm feeling about that, but it could be jealousy. He did assure me that he would be back soon. He even hinted that he and the court had something to discuss upon his return. I hope his absence doesn't go on too long. Did I mention he's handsome? Gorgeous even. His dark hair is gorgeous. His piercing jeweled eyes are gorgeous. His chiseled jaw is gorgeous. Even his weathered face is gorgeous. I think I'm in love. I don't think he's ever been married, but I haven't had the courage to ask. He doesn't seem very interested in romance, sad to say, but that doesn't prevent me from looking. You must tell me if you get a chance to see him. I simply must know if it's just me or if everyone is captivated by him. Remember his name, Dulaf. I expect great things from this man. For Galen, the House of Mornard, and dare I write it, for me, Lady Liniel? It says, Dulaf may be a member of the Mages Guild, but his latest calling won't keep him confined. I think that's a typo. But his latest calling won't keep him confined to some dusty library. There's an extra him there. And although a seasoned adventurer in his own right, he'd never turn away a helping hand when it comes to investigating the secrets of the sisters. Will you join forces with this swashbuckling former pirate? All right.
I'm sad because when you finished, I slow clapped for you, but I realized my mic was muted.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a whole new reason I probably should be glad my wife was in bed, huh?
Yeah. You thought Elvis Scrolls Online was bad? Well, now you're just talking about
No.
dark,
Elvis
handsome...
Elvis Girls
yeah.
Online, not
Sorry.
Elvis Scrolls.
Elvis Scrolls.
If you're going to butcher the name of the game, at least butcher the name of the game properly.
It is after 1 a.m. for me. You stop it. I'm too distracted by the fact that you were just reading about a gorgeous, piercing, jeweled eyes, chiseled jaw pirate.
Well, there is...
Oh, boy.
I'm going to go and spit that out later. So, anyway, sounds like a fun guy. I don't think my feelings for him would be the same as the lady who wrote this, but anyway, yeah, definitely sounds like a fun character, though. I mean, to go from pirate to mage, if we get, if we get to hear some stories from both sides of that life, that could be definitely interesting storytelling, because that's not really, you don't generally see pirates and mages being portrayed as the same person outside of, I mean, it's not really mages, but like you have like supernatural things like Pirates of the Caribbean, but
right.
But they were like the undead,
right?
It's a different thing altogether. But yeah, sounds cool. Where did it say this? Is this gonna? Is he gonna be in one of the dungeons too?
Yeah, so he's the one that's from the dungeon that we just talked about. He's the one that's going to be from
Okay.
Lost, from blah, 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 sorry. The one that we just talked about. It's not Lost Depths, that's the name of the actual preview. It's Graven Deep.
Okay.
So he's from Graven Deep, and she is from, I said it just a minute, Earthenroot Enclave, is that right? Yeah. But it does mention that they're obviously going to be tied together and helping each other because It mentions that in that letter that you just wrote. Or read.
Mm-hmm.
Not wrote.
No,
What
clearly
was
I
written
wrote
that you
that.
just read. I
That's
expect to see the parchment later.
um, yeah. So that kind of makes me wonder if there's going to be like an order that you should play those in. I guess they would. I guess they would tell us that though. They've done that in the past, right?
Yeah, I mean the elsewhere ones were kind of like that, where you had to find the two different pieces of uh the dragon stone or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you know? You could play in either order, but they directly went together. So maybe it'll be something along those lines, as the dialogue will just slightly adjust depending on which dungeon you've done first, perhaps.
Which
I don't know.
is still impressive that
Yeah.
they take all the time to do all of that extra prep for um, instead of just saying play it this way.
Yeah.
That they plan for you to play it out of order, even or play it in different orders, not necessarily out of order, to allow for uh, keeping the immersion there. That you're still continuing a story and you're not bouncing around in different time frames.
Yeah.
Well, that's the news and a
Exactly.
little bit of lore on characters coming uh, with our next dungeon drop.
We did
So
it.
we did it, and we are only an hour and a half in, minus uh, minus the pre-show. So maybe a little longer than normal, but we're trying to work on tightening up a little bit so we're not too long-winded. Um,
Meh.
but I think that pretty well wraps us up.
Yeah.
Minus just our normal guild announcements and social media stuff, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
And we'll, of course, probably talk about PTS at some point, just not this show.
Yeah, that's something that would be better if we all have a chance to kind of look over it at least a little bit, so we're not going in completely
Yeah.
blind. Um,
Yeah.
but well, all right. So, a few announcements for the Lore Seekers Guild. And if you're not part of that, well, um, you're welcome to apply. Uh, the process to apply is pretty simple. You just head over to loreseekerseso.org, click apply to guild, make sure you've got Discord downloaded, go through that process. Um, Pretty simple little test. As long as you pass, then your application gets approved and your name gets put on an invite list. And usually within a day or so, we get you an invite in game. We are on PlayStation NA, Xbox NA, PC NA, and EU. There are EU guilds on PlayStation and Xbox, but I don't think they have quite the. I don't think they have as much activity there. Um,
Yeah.
so, uh, if you're interested in helping to kind of get those things moving a little bit, um, then you're welcome to reach out and get in touch with us about doing that as well. We are happy to try to get people in places to grow the guild and um, try to have good people in place so that those communities uh, can get going as well too. But if you are in the guild and on PlayStation, we have a couple things that we do. We have which will be tomorrow or 2 days ago ish when you by the time you get this. But on Mondays, Moki leads a fishing outing,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just hop in game and just mention in chat that you want to join, or you can do so in Discord as well. And the real laid back if you want to get the fishing achievements in the different zones and go for the master angler um, and just hang out and talk and uh, just kind of relax and fish. If that's your jam, then Monday nights are a good time to do that. And grouping usually starts about 7:30 Eastern,
Yep.
uh, and then try to get going by about 8 o'clock. Um, so come do that. Tuesday nights, or well, at this point, it's kind of Tuesday at any point during the day. If you want to run some dungeons, we call that Treacherous Tuesday. It's an opportunity to try to get together with some guildies and go run dungeons, chase achievements, do story mode, however you want to go about doing that. And we're not currently on a schedule. That's something that we may try to pick back up at some point in the future, especially if there's enough interest in actually scheduling things and getting official groups together. And if it is, then just let us know. I mean, we're happy to do that. But for now, it's just kind of, get your group together and go do whatever dungeon you want to do, or all the dungeons you want to do, or however you want to do it. It's just kind of meant to be dungeon night.
And speaking of that, really quick,
Sure.
I know we've had some new members come in as well who are looking for some later night groups. They are either people that, work nights or have different work schedules or whatnot, or maybe different time zones. So if you are a person who hasn't tried to group with guildies before because you're concerned about your work schedule or your time zone or any of that stuff, still put it in the looking for group channel in the Discord, or post it, in the game chat if you're online and you're looking for somebody late night, because it seems like we've got a few more people coming in who may be on sort of a similar late night schedule. So,
Yep.
there you
Sure. All right, and also we have on August 16th, we have an Extra Life stream hosted by none other than Gone Crazy Back Soon. Um,
Is
and,
it?
and she is going to be trying to not die in a game she's never played.
That's right.
Have
That I
you?
just downloaded for you.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I actually downloaded it. It's actually on my hard drive now.
but you haven't done the tutorial yet, right?
Nope, sure have not.
um, Anyway, no, actually, it's my first foray into streaming for Extra Life. Really, I mean, outside of doing this show, it's kind of um, my first attempt to actually stream and get any kind of an audience at all. Um, I don't necessarily consider myself a streamer, but anyway, we're going to try to start around 7 Central, so I guess 8 Eastern. Um, we're going to be playing Tribes of Midgard. It's a Viking survival game. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically an indie game developed by a small studio. They have season 3 coming it releases on the 16th, which is what prompted me to use that as a reason to try to do it that day, just to go try out the new survival mode. Bunch of changes to how that works in that game, and we're gonna have some folks I work with, and Gone Crazy, and possibly Sasquatch. I don't remember if he said he was going to be able to make it or not. I think Gwen said she would not.
Yeah, I don't think Gwen's back in town yet. She's
Right.
not with her system for a little bit still.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, and then I might try to have my daughter on and hang out with us a little bit, and maybe talk a little bit about some of the things we have personal experience with the hospital that we're raising funds for. We have spent quite a bit of time there. Thankfully, not as much, since my daughter has been home, but we did spend quite a bit of time there early on. A lot of back and forth, even after she did come home. But maybe we'll talk a little bit about some of that. And I have only just a couple of incentives that because we don't stream currently, or at least I don't, with a camera, so I can't do a lot of the things that people do where you could actually see. So, I mean, I could tell you I was eating gross things or hot things or any of that kind of stuff, and just be like, oh yeah, it burns, but I don't have to actually eat anything, and I don't want to be dishonest. And so they kind of have to be all audible. So here it is. Once the stream starts, a $5 donation, and I start telling dad jokes. And if you really, really hate dad jokes and you're like, please, please stop, I'll do anything. Well, anything doesn't cost that much. $10 and I'll stop telling dad jokes until someone else donates $5 more. And then I start
Oh
again.
my.
So, um, yeah, I don't know how that's going to go. It's a silly idea. It was kind of just said as a joke, and then it was like, all right, I guess I'll just run with that. Um, and then the other thing, we have this long running bit now about email being for those that are 42 and up. Um,
Oh my gosh.
so um, what I figured I would do is if I can hit $100, then we will lower the age appropriateness of email use by 2 years, and then every hundred
So it'll
dollars
be
after
40.
that, we will lower it an additional year. So if you really want people to know that you are not uncool because you still use email and you're only 27, you need to tell some people to donate so that we can get that age down to where it's okay to use email when you're only 27 years old. Um, because when you're that young, you're supposed to be using the Insta Twittergram books and whatever other uh, talkers and ticky things and I'm old, so I'm actually not 42 yet, but uh, anyway, I'm rambling. These are all just silly things because the point isn't to have that stuff. Those are just some things I thought would be kind of silly to throw out there. Um, so yeah, come hang out with us Tuesday the 16th and tell some folks and share it. Not for me, like I said, I'm not really at this point in the game trying to be a streamer or anything. I'm just trying to raise some money to help the hospital that my own daughter um, was um, was able to benefit from having access to. Um, so come take part in that, and look forward to seeing you there. But we're going to start, like I said, about 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and I don't know how long we'll go.
I
I,
don't either because I got to work the next day.
yeah, I mean, I know there may be some people that can't get on right away, that may
Yeah.
show up a little bit later, and so we may run pretty late. I don't have to work the next day, so we might just hang out
Oh,
and just see if we can survive all night. I don't know.
maybe I'll just see if I can give away, but probably not.
No pressure for doing anything like that. Um,
No, I know.
but anyway, we are on the social medias, and we're younger than 42, so we try to use the cool ones, clearly. Um, but where can
I
we be
actually just
found?
checked our email. There's nothing there.
See, it's because our listeners are too cool for that too, except for that one guy.
Oh, you mean Lotus? Hey, he's not the only one. Lear Hall did it too.
Yeah.
They've both sent us emails before. Thanks, guys. Coming through. Don't listen to my other co-host and his sassy email hate. Anyway,
All
if you
right.
wanted to email us because you love email and it's so amazing and you can send long messages there
Cutting
or
edge.
suggestions for things or you just want to prove my co-host wrong that people do use email, you could send it to snugpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter @snugpodcast. Or if you're here with us, of course, watching, you might be watching us on twitch.tv/snugpodcast or on YouTube, where we are still working on getting our own URL, or URL, as Never lovingly calls it.
Earl.
But you could just type in Snug Podcast in the search bar and be able to find it there. Yes?
Yep.
Maybe?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep. And
And then how else do they find us? What else could they do?
well, you can also search for us on your favorite podcast app and hopefully find us. Um, the big ones all pretty well have us listed, and even some I've never heard of, we show up there. And so, yeah, shouldn't be too hard to find us. Um, and I do have one caveat: if you're going to email us, I will accept. I will accept emails from younger people so long as you put some of them really cool peanut butters in there.
All of our emails have been from younger people.
But they didn't include peanut butters.
No, but we did get pizza.
But it has to have peanut butters.
Okay.
Jif.
A GIF. Okay. Okay. Oh. Oh. Nobody gave you $5. Why are you telling bad jokes?
That is a sample, okay? That is a sample of what you must pay $10 to make me stop doing.
I'm gonna mute my headset and turn the volume all the way down.
uh, anyway, yeah. So you can find us on podcast form if audio is more your thing, and if you're listening and would want to come check us out live, we usually try to start um, roughly 11 Eastern. And sometimes it is later, sometimes it's way later. It's rarely, if ever, on time, but that's our goal. Um, if you join us right when we start, if you follow us, and on YouTube, you can click the little thing to follow and help us get one of them Earls. Um, then you get to actually take part in listening to pre-show nonsense, because it's a great time. I edit that out before the audio form goes up. So if you're like, what in the world are they doing before the show? Because I heard the stuff that went in the show, and that was nonsense. Could it have been any worse? Oh yeah, yeah, it can totally be worse. Not tonight though. Tonight the actual show is the bad part. Um, but yeah,
You gotta make them want to come back.
kind of a benefit of
For
being
sure.
part of the live show is you get to hear our sound checks and um, all kinds of nonsense. But anyway, again, I'm rambling. I do that. It's late. So hopefully everyone has a great night and a good week, and we will catch you on the next time.
Bye.